G'day and welcome. I'm having a cup of tea. Anyone that watches my car resto videos knows that I drink far too much tea. This is the first one we actually start taking stuff off and ascertaining the condition of it. As I said in the last video, it's been sitting in Wisconsin since 1988. I've put it down as a barn find. Now, I didn't find it as a barn find. It was, I bought it from a dealer, an importer here. And it's sat in a garage or shed for a long time. So it hasn't been registered since 88, and I'm tipping it hasn't been run since a little bit after that. So there are a few very serious gremlins we need to take a look at to really ascertain what to do with it. Now, I'm not sure at this point whether to just get it running and ship it off, um, have it as garage art, write it, paint it, restore it. I kind of like the idea of returning to the look of the K1, K2 sort of thing, the very early first generation CB750s with the 4 exhaust and all that sort of stuff. And the colours they use beautiful turquoises and golds and all that sort of stuff. Honda, I think, did 2 different colours per year model. And so I'm not going to stay faithful to, making it like that because it isn't. It's a 78. But I do want to get away from some of the later 70s kit that's on it, if you know what I mean, and return it to a sort of a more classic look. Hence the reason I've got a single overhead cam on. But if it's absolutely shagged and I can't do anything with it, I probably won't. I don't know. We'll just see where this takes us. But for now, the bike's here. It's on the trailer. I'm waiting on a few people to help me get it off, and because I can't do it myself, I'll drop it. And but we'll go outside and we'll have a look at it now. And I took the old beast out today, and I took and hitched the trailer on because on the trailer we have this motorbike I've been talking about. Right, so we'll take a bit of a look at this CB750 K8. This is a 1978 model. It says so in there somewhere. Actually built in May 1977, and Honda changed their model designations every May. So May 78, I'm assuming, is the first of the twin cam bikes. This is the very last model of the single overhead cam. Now, I operated the Kickstarter at the shop and we're not seized. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. But I don't want to turn it over anymore because I need to pop all the oil out. And this side cover, well, you can see that side cover's had it. If I take the oil out, the oil dipstick, it is as black as diesel oil. That is terrible. So it's probably never had an oil change. Either that or it was done many moons ago. Now this bike, I think I said in the last video, was last registered in 1988, so God knows how old that oil is. I did worry. There is one thing that's a bit of a problem. The throttle is absolutely seized. Now I did worry that the water had got through the seat padding and gone into the intake. These things don't have an air intake down here like the 354 does. That's the last Honda 4-cylinder I had. I think it's underneath the air box. There's a scoop type arrangement there. I think that's it there. Either that or it's a drain, one of the two, I'm not sure. So we've got a foot peg down there in the battery box. Remnants of I think that's a choke cable. It's got the lowering blocks that you put on a car. They can do it on bikes by raking the shock back, so that'll all be taken off. Condition wise, externally it looks really good. I'll pop that oil pressure switch in there out and I'll do an oil pressure test on it. I think the first thing to do is to get all that ratty oil out. There's a drain plug and I think a plate underneath, and I want to take that out. And which part is it? That whole panel, I'm not sure. I want to take it out. There's a screen behind there. I want to have a look at that. Before we put more oil in, I want to take that off too, the valve cover, because the tack drive is just sitting out and I don't know in there if it's little, oh yeah, it's still there. I didn't know if the little driver's still there or if stuff had dropped off into the engine, so that's one thing that I can relax about a bit. Been a long time since we've run. The wheel's a bit rusty and it's not a big deal. New shockers are like $100, that's not a big deal. Just not sure what I'm going to do with it, whether I'm going to recommission it, just get it going, or restore the thing completely. It's all sort of strapped down. I've got to wait for help to get it off the trailer. It's had a new lens put on there. I like the old school ones better. What have we got? I'll just jump in the trailer. Someone's lost the keys. There's the what do you call it? The lock, the seat lock. If you have spare helmet night, you can lock the seat down. Little trinket tray still there. Seat base is all rusty, but I don't intend to keep this seat. I'm thinking of going back to an earlier type seat and tank. The fuel tank, I'll take it off, is absolutely full of rust. And we can't see in there. It looks solid underneath, but my floors in my XW Falcon I restored look solid. And they were rusted out because when I hit them with the Y wheel from the inside, it all sort of poked through. We're only showing 18,000 miles. We don't have a key, so we can take the lock off and get it recoated. What else is there? It really looks good though. Everything looks original, just the way I like it. Even though I'm going to change it to not original. Bits of side cover. Foot peg. Oh, is that broken? Oh no, that just needs to be put back on. There's the cable, which somebody's taken off. That must have gone up here somewhere. Must have gone up in there somewhere, I'm not sure. I'll take that as well. Ooh, let's get it down from here for a minute. Okay, moving around here. Leave the rubbish bin out of the way. Chain, ugh, horrible. Sprockets look pretty good, don't they? They're still square at the end. They're not sort of pointing forward and all sort of pointing, all that sort of stuff. So that stuff looks all right. I just think it looks like a terrific bike. So I'm going to pop this side cover off. This one's broken. I'll get new side covers for it. I want the old style ones. Shoot, I can't get that off. That's all the electrical gubbins in there, regulator and all starter solenoid, that sort of thing. Not really too bad at all. I like it. I wouldn't mind sort of retrofitting gaiters up here, make it look like an old one. Disc is in great condition, but it's missing the caliper. So because it's all dried out, if we look in here, I was appalled when I saw it in here. I don't even think I'm going to bother recoing that. I'll just get a new one. You can reco anything, but on a motorbike, the systems really do need to be absolutely perfect. So I'll change those. So when we get it down, we'll have a closer look. But obviously it needs a complete new set of front end components. What do you call it? Brake components. New tyres, obviously. Lots and lots of bits and pieces. But it's a project. I'm getting impatient. I'm taking bits off. It's still in the trailer, obviously. It's all 10mm. Japanese love metric. Bugger. I thought that had come out. The electrical stuff stuck to it. But I just want to take that airbox out. I really want to have a look at the carburetors because I'm worried about water ingestion and stuff like that. So I don't know what I'm doing. If it was a car, I'd know what I'm doing. I need to get these out. I need to have a look. Now, as I said, on the old 354, the air intake's directly under the seat, and I was worried about water having drained into it. I'm taking the airbox off. I have to separate these to take them off, and it's in lovely condition in there. It's absolutely beautiful, and that's a great thing. There's not been any water in there at all, added to the fact it gets its air from underneath, which is a better setup anyway. But that's good. I mean, obviously we'll put a new filter on, but that's really, really positive. Now, what I'm also relieved about is these carburetors don't look too bad. The choke mechanism seems to work alright. I'll do it from there. That's all good, and I can't see any gremlins inside. It's going to be difficult with the middle ones, but it actually looks pretty good. I have noticed this though. Look at the wiring. It's been pinched, and it's all sort of damaged here. Wiring's my favourite thing though, so that's easy. It's been tempered with a little bit. But if we whip around to this side, it actually looks mint in there. That was the thing I was really, really worried about. Look at it. It's lovely. So I don't know why they're seized, but I'll take them off and we'll have a look. I wonder if the problem might have been in here. You can see that cable there's relaxing. That cable's not a problem at all. This top one doesn't seem to be doing an awful lot in terms of movement. There could be a stuck throttle cable, but I think we'll just sort of unwrap it. Maybe I'll take it off from up here. Let's have a look. I think I might have found a potential issue. I've opened up this little thing here and unhooked the lower cable, and this one is rusted solid and broken. So I'm sort of assuming that it is a cable issue, not carburetor, which would be a mental breakthrough. I might cut that cable there, see where that leads us. God, this would be a big win if it's just a cable. I'm just going to cut that and take that other piece out, because I know the cable's knackered anyway. It's still jammed, but at least I know through process of elimination that that's not it. Just seems odd that it's stuck like that, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to order a new set of cables anyway, so we're good. Whoops, you're probably getting seasick watching this because I'm the whole thing's moving around. Anyway, look, I'll just get a spanner and I'll take these cables off properly, and I'll just order some new ones. Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
How you going? I don't know where Patrick is. I can't find him. I need to get this bike out.
Okay.
I found a rusted-in cable.
Yeah.
Throttle cable. The carburetors look brilliant, but they're good. They're a little bit stuck, so I'm just...
I think it's a really good bike.
It's not a bad bike, is it?
I don't like bikes, but I like this one.
Well, you'll like it better when you hear it.
No.
It's just fiddly. I'm used to... Charlie, I've got the camera going. I'm used to V8 Ford engines, not little Honda ones. You're tired, are you?
Yeah.
Well, I can confirm one thing. They're stiff, but they're not stuck. So that's brilliant. I might just take them off. Actually, I might leave them there for now. I'll wait till I get this bike off the trailer. So I think I'll stop there for now. But so far, it's so positive. It is so positive. I'm really, really happy with it. So we need to get out of here and put in the garage, take these carbies off. Just make sure it's all clear in there. It looks pretty good so far from what I've seen. It's not been left outside, it's just been left in a shed somewhere. But the dirty oil's a bit of a mongrel, but what do you do? We need throttle cables. Might get away without carby kits. We'll pull them apart and clean them out. But we'll just see, we'll just get what it needs. And if you get it running and it runs well, but that oil line, that ferrule around the oil line down there doesn't look too good, because I might get a new oil line, or a pair of them, because I mean they're very, very old. But I'll get it running before that, and I'll just make sure the bike runs properly. But just a little bit of wiring and fuel system work, and I reckon it might be alright. We'll compression test it and do other bits and pieces. It's all looking pretty good. I'm happy. I've had to move these cars. Oh dear. Clean everything up. I've got all this cleaning up to do here. It is a mess. Got to cut those bits of wood up and got my little chop saw there. Right, this thing had to stay outside all night, which didn't please me too much, but it doesn't matter. I want to drain the oil, and the oil's going to be ice cold. I don't want to turn the engine over with dirty oil, so I think we'll just go and change the oil, or drop the oil anyway. Now, given that the oil's cold, it's going to be very thick, and so I'm just going to let it drain over a period of hours. Is that going? Yes, it is going. You can see here the exhaust is absolutely knackered. It's all sort of rusted out down there. Not sure if you can see that with this shot. This is the underneath from the front, obviously. I don't care about exhaust. I'm not keeping it anyway, although I did hope I could keep the, what do you call it, the engine pipes, these bits, but it doesn't matter. I'll buy a new one. But as long as the frame's not sort of knackered in the same way. I can't see what I'm doing, so I can't see around the exhaust. I have to sort of snug in here, the camera's in the way. I'm using a shifter which is, we Aussies call it the AFS. This doesn't even fit, what's going on? AFS means any jolly size, but, well, that'd be AJS, wouldn't it? Let's stick this here. This oil is going to be as manky Oh dear, that doesn't look too good. Looks like it's blocked. Or is that all there is? What? That can't be right. Surely more's got to come out than that. It can't all be in the oil tank. Oh dear. Let me go and investigate that a bit. I don't think dry sumps are supposed to be that dry, are they? I think what we're going to need to do is to take this off and have a look in there. It could have been drained in the past. I'm interested to see if the oil filter's the same. I haven't got the oil filter yet, so that's the only problem with that. But I know the oil tank's still full, but I don't like that. It should have a little bit more than that, I would have thought. But anyway, keep looking. Not sure what the story with this is. Teflon tape doesn't look like it was put there in 1988. It looks a bit more recent than that. It's quite white. Perhaps it was drained before. So that was the sum total of oil that came out of the sump. And I just thought of something. The plug wasn't very tight either. And I just thought perhaps it was customs, because this bike went through customs, and don't know if they're allowed to bring in if they're bringing in vehicles. They're allowed to be full of oil or fuel or whatever. Anyway, look, I've got this funnel. So it's $1 at Super Cheap. I never normally shop there, but I saw them. Got a strainer there. Just want to see if anything comes out. Just hoping I make too much of a mess here. Hang on a sec. I need both hands. I'm just going to turn. I haven't got my tripod with me. Just a moment. Here we go. Okay. Well, I didn't do a very good job with that funnel. I've made a mess everywhere. Let's have a look in here. Can we see in there? Probably not a bad idea to take that off and give it a good wash. Can we see in there? Yeah, it looks a bit dirty in there. I might take that off. While I've got the camera, the fuel tank is terrible. And so I'm not going to bother fixing that. You can probably line it and do all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm not even going to bother with that. Not at all. And look, it's condensated over the years and filled itself up with scale and that sort of thing. So yeah, this is going to be consigned to the shed. It's the original one for the bike, but I'm not going to throw it out. It is straight, but a little bit beyond what I want to work with. Right, I'm going to pop the exhaust off this side. It's going to make it easier to clean underneath. And if that exhaust looks to be repairable, like temporarily repairable, I certainly don't have any intention of using it. Well, then I can sort of do that at the same time, sort of weld a patch onto it, but I'm not too fussed if I can't. But I just want to drop it off. There's another extension there, 3-inch extension. Hang on. Use a uni on here as well. Might make it a bit easier. There we go. And just have a bit of a look. See if there's any nasty surprises. I'd like to have put oil in it and started turning it over, but I haven't got the oil filter. So we'll just do what we can today. There should be a couple of sort of spurs in there holding a flange down into the head. These little guys here, have to get these the right way. They're like a double step thing on these. The old 350 ones were a bit different to that. Anyway, we'll continue on. The crash bar's in the way, but I kind of wanted to leave that there. I had this crazy idea of sort of lying the bike down, not on its side, but sort of almost, to sort of clean up underneath that. I think I probably should have taken the kickstand off. If I can get this out though, I don't think I can. Oh, I don't think I can. Looks like the crash bar's got to come off. Maybe. Oh, hang on. We got lucky. Oh my gosh, we can't fix that. Look at this. We see this here? Yeah, look. I had no idea of just cutting that out, welding a piece in. That's going to blow it everywhere because it's really thin, but it's also gone here, it's gone here. I can pretty much, I might just wrap that in a bandage to start it. I don't know, but they're munted. They've had it. I didn't like them anyway. What I'm sort of hoping is by doing that, I can see really well underneath. That's cool. Excellent. I think I'll just clean up a bit first and bag and tag a few parts. Well, I don't think I need to sort of roll it over and clean under here too much. It's really clean. Looks like that's been off in the past at some point. But the that seal, that blue seal, it looks like blue Hylamar type stuff. It all looks massively clean underneath. I wonder if when they go through quarantine they really do steam clean underneath all these things, but given that it's so clean, there's a little bit of gunk in there, but I can get to that with brake cleaner and a toothbrush. Given that it is so clean, I'm going to take the crash bar off, because I was originally thinking of sort of lying the bike down on about a 45 and getting under here with a sort of a wire brush, but I don't think I need to. It's really, really nice. So this crash bar just screams bad taste and poor decisions, although they're a good idea, because my old 4 had a couple of smashed fins here where it was dropped. And we don't want to replicate that, but it's just the appearance of it looks so negative, particularly this thing. What gets me about this one, normally they used to be sort of wedge shaped at the end, but this foot peg arrangement here I just think screams sad. But I don't know, I'll take them off and just hope that in wheeling it around, it's quite unwieldy this thing, it's quite heavy. They're running around 220 kilos or so. Just hoping I drop the thing. It'll also help narrow it a bit too. Whoops. So if anyone wants it, let me know, and it is yours. So I'll just go and I'll two sets of washers. Take all this off and just give the bike a cleaner appearance. Right. Well, straight off the bat, removing this thing's like giving someone a makeover. It is just epitomises ugly. So I'll put our engine mount bolts back in and do him up. These are a bit of a bummer, these things to do too, because they're not a captive nut. They're sort of just free spinning inside a really narrow channel. You can't get a socket or a spanner on there. I should say. Had to put a screwdriver on the edge of it while I rotated here to crack it, but a bit of risk in there in cracking bits of aluminium, but kind of lucked out. So straight away, I think that's a massive improvement. Huge improvement to look at the bike. Under here, in the exhaust ports, you'll see it looks like a bit of, can I get my torch there? It looks like a bit of corrosion in there. That's quite normal. Condensation and that sort of thing forming in there. Particularly if the bike was started and sort of rum, then shut down and you get condensation sort of happening, that's quite normal. I'm not at all concerned about that. For now, I'm just going to leave the exhaust off. And of course, here it is, CRC brake cleaner. This is mad, this stuff. Now, I always use this, and I'm going to save this going to a new can. It's like 12 or 13 bucks or something for a can. And I'm saving that for the brake overhaul and the XC restoration. And for those that haven't seen my videos, this is the car I'm restoring at the moment. Everything's brand new in it. It's a 1977 Ford. You can get equivalent cans of brake cleaner through the reject shop for $2 each, and I don't like using them with brakes because they leave a very, very mild residue, like a champagne coloured residue on the parts. Now that stuff's going to be fine for hitting with a toothbrush underneath this and just sort of cleaning up around it. So I think before I start cleaning, I'll just go down to the shops and get some of that. My daughter works in a shop near where the reject shop is, so I'm just going to get a few cans. So with this exhaust up, I can get here and clean up these fins. I might use a Dremel with those, just stick something in the port so nothing gets in there. You can see this bolt here is too long because it was made for the crash bar. I can change all that sort of cosmetic stuff. That washer's another thing. Can change all that stuff later. That's not important for the running of the bike. I'll take this tank off. This is just sort of sitting here. See if we can get some rust out of it. Look at that. This is what I was saying with the, gosh. This is what I was saying with the Ford I restored. It's another white one up in the driveway. The floors underneath look like this. They were beautiful. Now, if I could take the lid of this tank off and power, like, what do you call it? Wire wheel it all, it'd probably start poking through everywhere. So, it looks great from underneath. Hang on. But you can see how absolutely knackered it is. So, yeah. This tank is never going to see service on this bike, at least in the time I own it. I mean, that's not even all of it, that's only some of it. So, you know, there's going to be some extremely thin metal in the bottom of that tank, even up the sides. And look, I mean, this reeks of off fuel anyway. But even if it doesn't poke through, just knowing that much metal's been affected wouldn't give me any confidence in using it at all. Now, when I went and looked at this bike, the first thing I did was take the fuel cap off and have a look inside. And I knew straight away it hadn't been run for a heck of a long time. And it's just the sort of thing you do, you know, it gives you a feel about the history and, you know, all this sort of stuff. Now, the last video was more or less just a slideshow. Actually, it's probably easier if I just take those. I might just take those out, that might be easier. The last video was just a slideshow, and it was more about, this is the sort of thing I'm sort of thinking of. Now, I can find another K8 tank. They're not that hard to find. They're on eBay quite a lot. But the problem with them is you're buying second-hand ones. Now, for the early bikes, there's an American firm that actually make repro tanks for the earlier bikes. The K0s and 1s and 2s and all this. And I'm going to go down that road now. What was immediately obvious in the other one, can we see where the tank contacts? Yeah. The other tank fitted really well, but it sort of came short here. When you were on the bike, it looked like it fitted well around this area here because you couldn't see any gap. But at the side, you could see it all open up there, which means the seat's different as well. In fact, these open a different way to the earlier ones. These open the other way, if you know what I mean. The early seat, instead of opening like that, actually opens back up this way here. Now, I did buy a stuffed earlier seat. And I've got it over here. And the padding's all gone. And so is the vinyl cover, but it was the frame I was interested in seeing. Because what I wanted to do is see if I could retrofit it. Now that looks like it fits quite well. The only thing is the rear guard must be different, or something's very different about it. I can make that fit, but look at this. It's short there. So I'm not really sure how it's going to work. But it's food for thought for later on. You know, this thing's knackered as well. It's a much shorter seat. But I might be able to muck around with the frames and that sort of thing. I'm not really all that sure. But retrofitting it is something to consider for the future. These bars, I don't know if they're the original bars, they're quite wide. The grips bottom out back here, and there's a big gap. Now there'll be a drilled hole behind here to keep that from rotating. Now I can reposition that out here to close that gap. I don't know what was there. I would probably soon, I'll just get some new grips. I'm assuming they're all standard length, but it's easier if I just dock the bar back there and keep it a bit narrower. I'll just see how it feels, you know, when I'm sitting on it. This one's got like a, I think that's the remnants of a choke control. I don't want that. I want the switch gear and then the grip. That's all I'm sort of interested in. So I'll relocate the choke as well. Another thing we need to do is to take this lock out, the lock cylinder, to get it coated. I need a key, and I'll take the helmet holder. What do you call it? No, the seat lock barrel off as well. But for now, I think we'll take these pesky carburetors off and see what lies inside. I'm not going to do any repairing in this video. You probably notice it's purely a like an explorative type video. And in that, I'll know exactly what I need to order in terms of parts and bits and pieces and so forth in time for the next one. But for now, I just want to see what I've got. And so far, I've been pretty pleased. I'll just loosen up these rubber clamps. I'm not sure what the best way to take this off. I would have thought actually taking them off from the carburetor side is probably better. Actually, I might do that. I might leave those rubber boots on. The less I can fiddle around with those, the better. And of course, with the carburetors off, we can take the bowls off, have a look. Not just that, when this oil filter finally turns up, fill the tank up with oil. I'll clean it first, put an oil filter on it. I will have taken the bottom off, just have a look in there. And I can crank it over, do a compression test without the carburetors there. We'll get all the air in like we're supposed to. You're really supposed to have the throttle wide open. End of the day, it doesn't really matter if you don't even do that, because you're looking for discrepancy between the cylinders, so you can have the throttle shut for that. Doesn't matter much. Well, I just undid those things and pushed down and they came off. The reason I left these on here is because of the angle they're sitting on. They're sort of feeding this way on this side, and of course that one the other, whereas the carburetors are all on the same sort of angle at this end. So whoops, we got them off, and straight off the bat I can see a balancing issue with them, but they don't look bad at all. Look at them on a bench and have a bit of a fiddle around. Of course, we'll indulge in the mandatory peering down the ports. Not all that clean really, but certainly not full of rust or water. Tiny bit of what looks like corrosion in that one. Oh, just down the bottom, that's a nothing. They're all good. I'm going to block those up though. It's probably the best thing to do at this point. I'm just cutting off bits of pink rag. I'm using pink because it's there, but also according to my youngest daughter, this Honda is a girl. I don't know how she arrived at that. It looks more male to me. But anyway, we all put personalities and genders on our machines. There we go. I feel a bit better about that being blocked. Right, so we'll leave it there for now. In the next chapter, we will have the oil filter. That'll arrive probably Monday or Tuesday. Fill it up with oil. I can crank the engine over, do a compression test, all this sort of other business. I want to have a look under that plate at the bottom. I'd love to get the valve cover off, but I don't think you can. I think you have to drop the engine on these. I'm not sure. I took an engine out of a 1982 CB900 that I did up about 15 years ago, but I can't remember how I took it out. In terms of, I had a bit of trouble, but I painted the frame and all that sort of stuff. The other thing I've got to do, I need to take out the ignition lock cylinder. I think I mentioned that, to get it recoated. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. I wouldn't mind going old school, but I just need to see if the thing runs first. As far as the outward condition of the bike's concerned, at first appearance, it really does seem to be pretty good. So the frame all looks good. Next chapter, we can also address this. This is really good fun stuff to do. That's not conductors that are cut. I think it's just insulation. Or that orange one looks a bit ominous there. I don't think the frame needs to be painted, at least, anyway. I don't want to take the engine out if I can avoid it. I can clean up what's there in the frame. That's cool, and just add bits to it, provided it runs. If it doesn't run, or it blows a ton of smoke, or there's big issues with it, well, the engine has to come out. Not a big deal. We can polish all this stuff up, get new fastener kits for it, make it look all nice. But I think that's enough for now. At first glance, though, I think it does support the notion that it has done 18,000 miles. I don't think it's done more than that. It's just in really, really nice condition, just the way it is. Anyway, drive safely. I'll say drive, not ride, because I'm not riding this thing. Drive safely, enjoy your classic, and I'll see you later.